Dave, big series, obviously. What are your thoughts on today and the next two?
I'm excited. Certainly playing a division rival, meaningful games late into September. They're playing the best baseball, across the league. And since the All-Star break, they've had their way with us this year, so our guys will be ready. And coming off an off day, feel good that we're rested, focused, and we'll be energized.
You've talked in the past couple seasons, especially in October, about that sense of urgency and maybe not always being there. Is this kind of a test run this week against this team in a series like this?
It is. And results withstanding, I expect us to just come out with some vigor and fight, intensity, and certainly, when we play these guys, that's what they bring. And we have to match that intensity, and I think the talent is similar in both clubhouses, and then it's kind of who wants it more.
What have you seen from Edgardo Henriquez? I know that's not announced yet.
Not announced, but he's going to be active tonight. He'll be making his major league debut. Very excited. Really a great kid, big arm. And the corresponding move was Ben Casperius, who was very good for us. But we just don't need the length now, so we'll see if we can get him in there. But excited to see him.
Dave, I know the Angels in 02 when they called up Francisco Rodriguez in the month of September, there's been teams that have attempted to bring in a secret weapon per se from the minor leagues. Do you feel like he has the potential to be that type of arm for you guys?
I certainly high regard when you're talking about Frankie Rodriguez and what he did for the Angels, and certainly unique in the sense of his impact as a rookie for that team making a playoff push. I don't know. I think that certainly, I know you're not comparing the pitchers, but it's a different skill set. So we'll see. I mean, it's a variance play. Get him in here, get him in the big leagues, and see how he looks, how he responds, and go from there. But certainly, he's certainly a weapon. He's secret in the sense that I don't think anyone knows him outside of our organization. As far as the major leagues. But it's going to be exciting to watch him make his debut.
Do you feel like that's the advantage? Nobody has really seen him or experienced those.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of things in the big leagues where the advantage starts to come when, or disadvantage, but the other way, where people start to get familiarity with you. And so to not know Edgardo is definitely a benefit to him.
When your minor league guys have seen him, though, a situation like that, don't you get kind of a rudimentary scouting report like that?
You do, but it's still different than for major league hitters to be in the box and experience, what the velocity looks like or feels like, or what the breaking ball outplays.
Talking to people about Shohei, my experience has been that the thing that keeps coming up is that he's surprisingly down to earth and well adjusted for someone who's been that big of a superstar for that long. I was wondering if you can pinpoint or think of a time where you started to really realize that about his personality, just how normal he is, I guess?
It's happened over time, but I got that early on. I think he just loves to play the game of baseball. He's super talented. Obviously a lot of notoriety. He's still a very private guy. But I think he just really wants to be looked at as just one of the guys. Many instances, he's very, like you said, he's very respectful, very humble, treats everyone the same, and is very workmanlike. But there's been instances, and honestly, every day, every interaction, he's very present and engaging.
Dave, I know we're not in an era where Oral pitched or Fernando pitched, and somebody's going to go throw 9 in October, but if you could have a guy that throws 6 in October that you can count on, how much does that give you an advantage? Not only that game, but setting up the rest of the
Sign me up. That'd be great. I think the thing is that every game is different. In a vacuum, I think any manager would say if I could get 6 from a starter and be in a position to win the game, they would bank it. But that's just not the way the game is played. So Yeah, you know, I hope with our guys, you know, I think for me as Flaherty has shown that. I think Yamamoto, we got to continue to get him built up, but the pedigree, what he's done for us this year certainly has shown that. You know, Landon has done it only once, and so that's something that you got to read and react. And then with Walker, certainly has the pedigree, but as far as recency, you know, we haven't seen it. So I think that, yeah, you've got to kind of, I think every team would love to have 4 guys that every single night that you're going to bang 6 innings and the pitch count's going to be fine and you're in a position to win a ball game and go to 3 guys. But that's just not, you know, reality for a lot of clubs.
Going back to Edgardo real quick, what did you tell him on the mound the other day when he walked over there with you?
Yeah, you know, I knew he was going to be active at some point, and I just wanted to diffuse a little bit of being on the mound and get that visual of him being out there on the mound before the first time the gates open up in left field, and just to visualize him and the catcher being on the attack. And hopefully we did a little exercise, and hopefully it pays off when he does get to a big league ball game.
And sorry if you answered this already, but is he a consideration for the postseason at all?
I think there's a lot of guys that are up for consideration, and we'll see if we can get him into a game and see how it looks. But certainly arm talent, you can't debate that.
Doc, what's your perspective on why this year's Padres team's played at the level it has, when last year's did not come close to meeting expectations?
You know, I don't know that answer. You know, they're pitching well. They're getting big hits. I think that, you know, Jackson Merrill's gotten, you know, a half dozen game-winning hits, homers. They've got a good thing going. They've played good baseball. They're certainly talented, and it's not what happened last year as far as that collapse, and I'm sure they're still hungry. But Jeff, it's a good team, man, and we have a good thing going, us against them, and it's going to be a fun series.
How close are you going to be managing this to like a postseason series?
Very close. I think that we're trying to win a division, so we're trying to put these guys to bed. So I'm going to do everything we can to, you know, win tonight.
We talked about this, like the chase, you know, maybe being good for you guys in the division. Like, does a series like this kind of really hammer that home, where you get what is probably about as close to like a postseason environment and stakes as you can have at this time of the year?
Yeah, this is good for us. This is as close as you can get, you know, to a playoff game. Certainly, given the implications that you know from this series. So I think this is good for our ball club.
Dave, have you had that meeting to discuss Shohei and pitching possibly in the postseason?
I don't think we haven't had it yet, and I just. Yeah, that's more, again, kind of talking about what the plan is for the next couple of weeks, but like I said, I just don't see it happening. It's very unlikely, but the meeting is going to happen kind of for Shohei to kind of figure out, you know, plan of action over the next week or two, which is needed.
How close is Shohei to facing hitters?
It's on the heels of this meeting too. You know, there's things that we're actually essentially at a fork in the road trying to figure out which way we go.
Is there a benefit to him facing hitters, even if it's not, you know, October related, just with how his rehab's gone and how it sets him up for the winter?
I think you can argue both. You know, I think that you could argue, you know, there's a shutdown to rest, and there's also an argument to continue to build up face hitters and build a little bit more going into the offseason. So, but that's more for the training staff and the doctors.
Is Banda still on track for tomorrow?
He is, yesterday through a pen was great. And he is on track for sometime this series. I don't know if it's tomorrow.
What about Gonsolin? Did he throw his bullpen yet?
He is throwing a bullpen today in Arizona, and then he's supposed to throw a live session on Friday. So, yeah, that's where he's at.
So he's kind of out
for Colorado, correct?
Yeah.
Dave, what's the latest on Clayton Kershaw?
Clayton, we're in a holding pattern. I don't think there's been improvement. I don't see him facing hitters this week. So right now, I think that's more on his health and himself. Like I said, I think it's holding pattern is somewhat fair. Him not facing hitters this week is pretty telling in itself. So hopefully in the next few days, we'll get a little bit more clarity on how he's feeling.
If he's not ready to go at the beginning of the postseason, he's going to just keep throwing just in case it's an option later in the October.
Absolutely, yeah. He'll do whatever he can to be available whenever he's needed, yes.
So is the holding pattern related to the toe, or is it something else?
It's the toe, it's just the body. From what I understand, he's playing catch, he's out there playing catch today. But there's something that's holding him up from progressing to face hitters. And so for me, for the training staff, I was told that we're kind of status quo and not moving forward.
So for now, is he kind of not going to be getting off a mound, throwing bullpen sessions?
I know he's not going to be facing hitters this week, and I can't specify if he's going to be off a mound later this week. That, I'll leave it open-ended.
When you look at just this series, and I know we talked about that sense of urgency against the Rockies, but do you feel that same intensity, I guess, quote-unquote vibe, kind of going into this matchup against the Padres, and just that feeling of, is it a must-win, and that mindset amongst the players, I guess?
I do, and it should be more magnified, given that when you play a team that's trailing you, it's like 2 games. And so a potential playoff opponent. So yeah, I mean, I certainly feel that and expect it to be very intense, tonight as well as the other 2 games.
Is Barnes still on track to be back at some point this week?
I don't know when he's active to come back, but when he's eligible to come back, my assumption, talking to Austin, he'll be back.